what is the reality within which we operate? What is law? What is auditing? And where do these various things fit in? Because if they were not a democracy, this tremendous challenge of a feudal structure hundreds of years old, juxtaposed on a colonial structure that has ruled India for so long, could not have been challenged. And it could not have been challenged except for the innovation of the people there. The Rajputs who you saw, who had pocketed not one but two Indira Awas houses for himself and the community center within his own home. Nobody could have spoken to him. But yet people, and that's what Aruna was trying to say, have got out that powerful, creative, innovative method of being able to challenge power and take that power on. And that challenge is what faces us when we look at higher education, because it's the higher education people who are going to go and rule or occupy centers of power, which challenges us when we look at these concepts of democracy. Because again, in the concepts of democracy, the questions are, where are those real democratic spaces and how can they be used? And it is actually people at the bottom end of the rung who have used it in the manner that they have. And they brought it together to produce one of the most powerful laws in the world. Because if it had not been for this experience, this is an experience before the Right to Information law even came into being and was conceived as a law. If it weren't for this experience, you would not have had those very, very many powerful sections in the law that Aruna talked about. And now that we've been given this law, what are the challenges that the rest of us face when we go through an education system as planners? Those are the things I'll go through, again remind you of what Aruna said, and go through 4 or 5 things in the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Section 4 gives us an opportunity to turn around governance, but we haven't done it. It's been there since 2005. Any planner or any bureaucrat can put every single thing out in a manner in which people have been ruled in this country will turn around, but no one has done it. And that's the kind of challenge. We may do it on a computer, but it's not on a computer that it needs to be done. The clause in the Act that says you're on the same ground as an elected representative, an MLA or an MP, really allows you not just to question or dish out information as a planner, but allows you to empower people so that even what the MLA and the MP is not doing in Parliament, but those who are interested in, you can get them to do, but it's not being done. So these are the huge kinds of challenges. It gives you an opportunity, and the switch in power relationships gives you an opportunity across this country to change the way governance has functioned so that people can participate in governance. And I'll give you 3 quick examples from the NREGA. The National Rural Employment Guarantee Act is another massive act. I think the Right to Information, some friends of ours in a convention in Hyderabad recently said these are 2 transformatory laws. They are separate from other laws because they really have the capacity to transform relationships and the way this country is run. But they can transform now only after those who implement the law really see it in that sense. And that's the challenge before people like us, or people who are who have been gathered together today. The NREGA allows every rural Indian to ask for work and get work in 15 days. And what is the transformation there? That you have moved from a legal system where you're dishing out things to a legal system where there are entitlements and you're accountable for those entitlements. But can we produce that along with that? Can we really hold ourselves accountable? Can we create a real entitlement approach? I'll give you, in Rajasthan, under the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act last year, 8,000 crores was spent. That's about $2 billion. 75 lakh households went to work. That's about half the households in the state. People during this economic downturn really had a situation where, despite the very messy way in which the law was being implemented, despite that, got a huge opportunity to be able to fight hunger and rank deprivation. We cook our own food. For the first time, they learn to carry water, and they learn that water, most of the country carries its own water. It doesn't come through a tap. And so they learn several things, but the biggest learning all of them go through, and they come with many questions about the NREGA, waste of money, corruption, lots of funds going down the drain. But one big day of learning is where they are asked to do 4 hours of casual, manual, unskilled work, which is what the NREGA worker has to do. They start off the first half an hour with a lot of energy as if they're going to a gym. And by the end of 4 hours, they're full of sweat, they're dirty, and they're almost at the point of tears. But at the end of that, almost across the board, they all say that this is the biggest learning we've ever had. This is not unskilled work. This is not work actually we can do. This is a wage that, these are all the statements, this is a wage, they deserve much more. And this is something that is productive work. And so many of them have gone back and told the other workers who were with them that, please, why don't you learn computers? You can earn so much more instead of doing this. But they write back to us that we will never look at a laborer the same way again. The bottom line is that. The bottom line is that as administrators, as people who've gone through an education system, at people who are learning at the cost of others, in a sense, because we are being put through this education system, can we at least recognize through the eyes of the people with whom we are dealing and whose lives we are dealing with, can we recognize that at that level? Last point I'd like to bring up is corruption, which ties together NREGA, RTI, governance, democracy, education. This country, of course, deserves PhDs in corruption across the board. But there are people out there who are really finding ways and means to use corruption as a battle against exploitation. Because for them, corruption really means the difference between their rations, between their medicines at the shop, between their education system. And what the right to information has given us an opportunity to do, and what we've seen in Rajasthan, and which Aruna talked about finally, is that by people saying, we will check, we will audit, we will see every single act of governance that is done, they have pointed out at great risk to their own lives and done everything that is conceivable, in a sense, to protect the core values of that particular law. The point is that on our end, again, as an education system and as a system of administrators, do we have the capacities to be able to say that once this is pointed out, once the work is done, the dirty work in a sense, the difficult work, the threatening work is done by someone else, do we have that same level of commitment to be able to meet them? Otherwise, all that we do is of no value.